Horror films bring out the most creative in humans. It's a genre that inspires and has very few limits when it comes to the imagination. Like life itself, it's ever evolving, and I'm always looking for new spooky content. So I was thrilled and quite flattered that LP Green had reached out to me just recently. I was already excited that I had discovered the Pasadena Horror Film Festival, but then to have its founder actually speak to me. LP is an impressive creative who was literally raised by the best 80s films that even go beyond horror. His film Ice Wolf Queen earned him 8 awards. He also directed and acted in Ice Wolf Queen and his other film Sky Collars. LP is a filmmaker, actor, writer, father, had a black belt in martial arts, and obviously the founder of the much anticipated Pasadena Horror Film Festival. LP has such a warm energy and is determined to inspire Hollywood to get its shit together on black representation in film aside from just the acting standpoint. So boils and ghouls, I give you the incredible LP Green.
Shut the fuck up.
LP, welcome to the virtual edition at the Devil's Horror House. How are you doing today?
I'm good. You know, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding? I'm still like, shit, why is he even talking to me? So let's get into it. You basically were raised on horror and the best that the 80s had to offer. So please tell us firsthand about the first horror film that you remember watching and how that VHS got into your hands, because it's a damn good story.
Well, how that got into my hand, easily. I'm a latchkey kid. Most of you guys, I don't know if you guys know that term anymore. When you're small, you get a key, you get left at home when your mom goes to work or she goes out at night. Pretty much that's what happens, you know. You get a key, my mom gives me a pizza, 4 or 5 movies, and you go and she leaves you watching movies and says, stay right there. And that's how my first horror ended up right into my lap. I think it was Prince of Darkness. Yeah, I think one of the, yeah. I think I was around like 6 or something, or 6 or 8. Let's just say 8 or 9, just to be safe. But yeah, Prince of Darkness. What else I could remember about my first? I think it was Michael Myers, Nightmare on Elm Street, Prince of Darkness. She left me with those. That's where I got my start.
Were you afraid at any point when you were watching those all by yourself?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. First of all, the content was pretty cool. Well, hardcore, you know. But you know, she also left me with some, like, you know, romantic comedy, so that kind of balanced it. But yeah, I was definitely afraid, you know, being home at night, and you know, of course, you know, still to this day, I don't like watching alone horror movies. My childhood comes flashing back, but yeah, definitely was afraid.
Really interesting how you turned something that scared you into, you know, basically who you are. It's really funny that you say that. I would actually, if I was ever disturbed by a horror film, which was very rarely, even when I was young, except for The Exorcist, but my parents didn't think, hey, maybe we should turn on a Disney film for her right after. So my kids actually watch something that they're terribly afraid of, I'm like, look, just turn on a Disney, turn on some Nemo or some shit. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Exactly. You know, you kind of remind me of the kids from like the Goonies, the Monster Squad, the Karate Kid, and ironically Stranger Things. Being as you were the latchkey kid, what were your Halloween nights like as a kid?
As a kid, they're really, really cool. Really, like, super, super cool. I wished kids could grow up the way I did regarding Halloween. I grew up, well, part of my life, I grew up in Illinois, a place called Carbondale, very small place. And it was a really, you know, close, compact, like, community with this apartments called Fields Apartments. And the Fields Apartments used to throw, like, the office used to throw, like, haunted houses. They used to take the empty apartment and make it into a haunted house for all the neighborhood kids. They would have all these events. We would go, because it was such tight-knit, you know, we would get really good candy for every single house. And it was almost like a street party, you know, for the kids. And it was wonderful. To this day, I still think about that you know, and the field departments in my gang, the kid gang like Victor and Jessica and all the little kids I grew up with are now older. But yeah, we still talk about Halloweens
Isn't
as a
that
kid.
crazy? I brought it up in something I did the other day where we would, it was the panel that you had found me on, the Black Halloween,
Mm.
how back in the 80s and early 90s, how intricately decorated these houses were. And there weren't spirit Halloweens back then. Like, where'd they get all this shit? I wish I could find all these
Oh,
old
yeah.
neighbors.
Yeah, they would have tunnels made for us. We would have to crawl through the tunnels, and it was now that I think back on it, it was pretty intense. This is in
Isn't
the
that crazy?
Midwest.
So you've been pretty much into the film industry your entire life. So another powerful asset you have is how you overcame a tremendous health setback at what you described as the peak of your career. So let's talk about that if you don't mind a bit. Where were you? It was 2014, I believe. Where were you
Yeah,
at in your career? And tell us what happened.
Disney. Well, I was pretty much just doing acting and stunts at that time. Great health, great shape, great and I was working. I was on this show called Comedy Bang Bang, working on my second season. And I went to bed one night and just had a stroke. Everything changed from there. And I found out later it was due sleep apnea. Use brain. Your brain doesn't get enough oxygen. And starts to shut down pretty much. It's very common. A lot of people have it. But mine was like severe. So when that happened, the whole left side of my body was paralyzed, and I started working it back, and I'm still working it back. But at that time, I was I got my arm back and I got my fingers back, and then at that time I just started writing. Writing. I would see my friends on TV, and I would be watching all these movies and stuff, and see my friends on TV, and I'm stuck at home on the couch, and so I kind of went into a depressing time, and so that inspired me to just start writing, and see what comes out, and it just kept me busy, kept me from being depressed, and that's how the Ice Wolf Queen pretty much started developing.
Exactly, because remember I told you the moon and the stars shine brightest at night.
Yeah.
Out of that depression became Ice Wolf Cream. So or Ice Wolf, I think I want ice cream later. Ice Wolf. You created and directed and acted in Ice Wolf Queen. You were meant to do this, and you basically gave your daughter Winter, her first big break. So speaking of Winter, your children have names that make my witchy heart flutter. What inspired the names Winter and Dakota?
Well, I always I wanted to give them like fantasy names, something that would also make them throughout their life remind them that they're strong individuals, and also I'm part Native American, Chippewa, you know, so the names come from that background, and just to hopefully give them strength in the future. But Winter is Winter White Wolf Green, and Dakota, my son, is Dakota Black Wolf Green.
Oh
So
my God.
But their fantasy names is Dakota the Ice. Winters, we call her the Ice Wolf Queen ever since birth, and that's where the name came from for my film. Yeah, ever since birth. As soon as she first came out, the doctor actually let me, pull her out. So when she came out, as soon as I said it was the Ice Wolf Queen, it's stuck, And my son, the Half Blood Prince. That's right.
Do your kids like Harry Potter?
Actually, no.
No, I know my kids are weird. Or only like one of them likes it. It's weird. Let's talk about how I found you. Actually, you found me. I don't know how it happened. It's only been like a week, but it's pretty interesting. I had found the Realm of the Dead. I don't know how. I was probably peeping on his shit, and I found something called the Pasadena Horror Film Festival. And again, I have a huge obsession with independent horror films. And you have a great story as to why you wanted to create the Pasadena Horror Film Festival. So, Mr. Founder, give us some, insight as to how that came to be and what your vision was before coronavirus happened.
I know, right? There's so many stories, so many things that influenced me for creating this film festival. The first one is just a film festival I would like to go to. What I would like to see in a film festival. My film, The Ice Wolf Queen, got into like 39 film festivals, and so we were going to a lot of film festivals, and some were lacking. Some were, some were sketchy, some were great, but I just wanted to. I felt like another one was just. I just felt like I wanted to give more to the filmmakers because we put our blood, sweat, and tears in these films, and we stopped eating for weeks to pay for locations, for camera rental. For me, I bought the camera. I was just like, I'm just gonna do more films, so I'm just gonna buy the camera. We really give up a lot to make these films, and then also, I just felt like when we would send our films to these film festivals, they would just put us in slots where there's a documentary about horse tranquilizers, and they would put us in slots of like a romantic comedy in the middle. It's like a horror film, and people were not feeling it. The mood wasn't right for the movie or the setup, for your films. If you're doing horror, it's just like, okay, documentary, horror, true romance, not like true romance, but like a romantic comedy. And it's just like, so I wanted to do more of a, where a film festival will give more respect to the film and to the filmmaker, and also
Absolutely.
just support, horror filmmakers.
Local SoCal horror filmmakers. We're talking to you. Now, the other day we were chit-chatting, and I noticed you had a Nine Inch Nails shirt on. So again, if you know Michelle Halloween, I will talk about your passion, your work, but I also need to get to know my friends and the people that I collab with. So let's talk music, because rarely do I, again, and I have to do it. I wish I had known you in February when I did the African American Goth History X blog series that I had done. So when I see a person of color wearing a shirt that says, "Oh shit, that's the music that I like," I get overly excited, and I usually set them off. But let's talk about your musical influences, because I know you love music. So
Oh yeah. I'm Generation X, so that generation, we listen to everything. We grew up listening to everything, So, I grew up on Living Color. I grew up on The Cure. I grew up on Nine Inch Nails. I grew up on KRS-One. I grew up on, who else? Jeez, I grew up on, Ice Cube. But I also, grew up on like Depeche Mode. It's one of my favorite bands ever. But so like I grew up just listening to a lot of stuff, a lot of different things. I was a skater as a kid, a little goth skater kid. Smoked cigarettes on the wall at school when you could smoke at school back in the junior high.
I really have to introduce you to James Carter, because you guys have so much in common. We're like this, like, remember we had said, like, we're all this weird, we're basically the same age, but we were all the same, What was the craziest concert you've ever been to?
Craziest? Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. Did
I
you
lost
get the
my
pit?
shoes. Oh yeah. I lost my shoes. I was on a date with a chick actually, and we were in a pit, and we just held on to each other and got tossed around, and that was kind of romantic.
It's sexy, right?
Yeah, and some Nine Inch Nails. Come on,
I lost a shoe. I took my son. He kind of badgered me to take him out ministry in 2018, and yeah, it was dope. And it was funny because when we left, my husband was like, "No fucking mosh pit, Michelle," and I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm bringing a kid. There's no way we're getting in the pit." And so it was when we got there. My son was like, "Let's get closer, Mom. Let's get closer. Let's get closer." And Thieves came on, and he looked at me and he's like, "Let's do it." We both lost our shit. God, it was his first pit. It was his first pit. And I
Mhm.
fucking, at one point, my Converse, because I wore my slip-on Converse, fell off, but I found it. You know, it would have been funny if I came home with one shoe and had to explain to him, like, no, we didn't get in the pit.
Uh,
So it's really funny. And this is why I cannot wait until concerts happen again. Because I'm gonna go
yeah,
hard. I don't care what happens to my back.
I
Um,
would love
you
to see the
are.
Cure in
Okay,
concert. I would love to see the Cure in concert.
I have a Cure story for you, so we'll have to talk about that another time. It's I love I another day.
All right.
Um, Now you are definition BIPOC, as I'll pronounce it, Black, Indigenous, person of color. What, if any, adversity have you faced in the industry because of who you are?
Um, doubt. You know, uh, even when I was doing my last film, I felt um, making it, people would just, just doubt. Maybe not used to seeing people in color, a lot of people in color
Mm,
doing, or any doing horror movies. They maybe had doubt. Do I know what I'm talking about, or do I, because of not seeing a lot of us in horror, are doing horror. But I ran into that, and hopefully um, things will change and people start getting used to more people of color doing and producing and directing horrors. And
exactly. Especially
starring.
beyond the acting front.
Yeah.
As we all know, the film industry is perilous. What advice can you give independent filmmakers who are currently out there that are just getting started? Especially those who are Black and not white. Let's just put it that way.
The advice is just this was a really big one. I think do your research. Do your research on the camera you need. Do your research on the gear you need. Do your research on the script. The background of the script. How many locations? Just do your research. Don't waste money. Try not to waste money. Not knowing a department of lights. Do your research on lights. Do your research on sound. And just make it happen. There's a lot of people going to say you're going to need this, you're going to need this, you're going to need this. Just do it. Just do it.
Follow your intuition.
Yeah.
Um, oh, so okay, so let's touch a bit about the conversation we had on Blackness in the horror film industry, or in the film industry, period. You have an enlightening perspective on, the delicate line that Hollywood is taking note of. They're just, you kind of stated that you feel like they're just hiring Black actors because they perceive it as a trend. So let's talk about that a bit. Share your viewpoint on Spears. Like, how is Hollywood going to? They go, oh, hey, you said they made Black Panther. Now it's popular. Uh, how does Hollywood learn not to just go with the hype and go, oh, Black is cool at the moment, and just be more inclusive organically? What do you think?
Hollywood's is about numbers. They're yeah, nothing else. It's about money. That's it. Money. They're looking at it as a business. Well, if we do this, we're going to get this in return. If we do this, we're going to get this in return. That's why we have all these, horrible reboots, because it made money the first time, so it can make a little bit of money now. They don't,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like regarding that, I just hope it's not a trend. I hope they're, if it's not something that's just going to happen for now because it's hot. I hope, like I said, people of color start making films and pushing the doors, even if they got to put it out themselves. And when it comes to Hollywood making these films, I hope they give, Black filmmakers and directors chances and keep going on in the future, and not just say, okay, this is what's hot now. Oh, you know what? Asians are hot now. Let's just start concentrating on Asian. No, this is not just a door that's just going to swing open and close. It's a way that, I'm like, for me, I can speak for myself. I'm here to stay. I'm here to keep making films. This is not a trend with me just because horror is hot right now. Black horror is hot right now. No. this is what I've been doing. This is what I'm going to continue to doing, you know, and I hope Hollywood does the same, you know, just keep, this is a part of the system. It's always has. And now they're just paying attention to it. Hopefully they'll just keep the door open and, you know, let us do our thing, you know?
I love it. This is why, folks, I love filmmakers so much. Did you hear that? I'm here to stay. God, I love it. So you have some really beautiful tattoos. I haven't asked you about these yet. Let's talk about their meanings. I saw that moon. I saw that moon on your arm. Let's talk about your tattoos real quick.
Well, you know what that means. Come on. But anyway, yeah, you know, mostly it's spiritual, you know, spiritual tattoos, protection tattoos. You know, just there's a lot of bad energy out there, especially in Hollywood and LA. You know, I need all the protection I can get. You know, on my walls back there. You know, protection everywhere. You know, and this industry. Oh, you see my my leg, my Christmas leg.
I do. I was gonna say, oh shit, you have a leg.
The Christmas Stories. I love that movie. But anyway. But yeah, you know, just a lot of them are native stuff, and you know, protection spiritually, just for good energy.
We gotta share space and do a protection ritual together at some point, especially when we start really diving deep into what you're envisioning. I'm excited. So one of the films, once the films have been judged, the awards are given, your latest project is wrapped up, and you get a month off before you're flown all over the world for premieres. What iconic landmarks would you like to visit? And let me be more specific. What iconic horror landmarks do you want to visit? Because you believe it, I couldn't believe that some of them you haven't been to. So, like, what few do you really want to go check out?
Yeah, like I haven't been to the Pasadena house, you know. Yeah, I haven't been
to
Michael
Myers house.
Yep, the Michael Myers house. I've been to the bridge, but what was the one? The Winchester house. I would love to go see that. I would love to go see that. You know. Also, what's up?
Oh, have you been to Freddy Krueger's house? So it's right there in your hood, man.
No, I know
it's. I gotta send you the address.
I probably have and just didn't. I didn't know it was there because I've been all the way around. But New Orleans. I want to spend some time there. That whole place is haunted.
Right?
Dude, I need.
What do you want to do there?
I want to make a movie there. I want to write there. I want to just take some of the energy, take some of the ground and dirt, and just bring it home with me and have it here when I write. You know, I just want to be a part and have it a part of me and just soak in. You know, especially for my next project. You know.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so out of all the places you've lived, where have you found the most inspiration?
Oof. Inspiration? Probably Pasadena. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. When all this has happened and when I started writing, some of the best stuff I've written was in Pasadena, you know.
It has a rich history. It really does. Okay, so we kind of touched on this earlier about, you know, being scared and how you don't like watching horror movies alone. What horror film scared the living fuck out of you that you still can't get out of your head and still have trouble watching sometimes?
Oh, easy. Exorcist.
Oh, you too, huh?
Exorcist, dude.
Again, what is your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Oh yeah, you're born on April 6th. Okay, which is weird because we're not supposed to get along typically. I'm water, you're fire. But it's really interesting, all the shit that we have in common. The Exorcist, funny story that I'll treat you and whoever's watching is, and if you have read my blog, that The Exorcist, I tried, you know, I have a hard time still watching I get fucking goosebumps every time still. So one day, a few years ago, I decided, it's terrifying. And I don't even believe in that shit anymore. You know what I mean? But it's still scary. But I prepared my children. They were like ready to watch it. So I had to give them a TED Talk. I made sure that even my parents were here to watch it because my dad was the one who introduced it to me. These fuckers laughed through the whole movie, whole thing. And I'm like, no respect, but it is the most terrifying fucking movie. Do you watch it once a year during Halloween?
No. I don't watch that movie.
You still don't even watch it? You still don't even watch it?
I watched it, but I'm always like purposely busy doing something. I watch it for the effects, the pea soup effects, everything like that. If I do watch it, but I don't really take it in.
Oh
It's
man.
mostly my childhood. My mom, when she kind of quote made us watch it, she set the room dark. She set the candles and. We had popcorn, and I'm like, "What are we gonna watch, Mom?" And she's like, "Oh, come on, family night," and she puts on the uh,
I again, that's the kind of mom I am. So I'm like, hey, and then these fuckers laughed at me. So what the fuck? All right, so with all this, you clearly have a lot on your plate. You have a lot going on. You're clearly not going anywhere, as you put it, and I love that. Can you share your other upcoming projects and visions?
well, right now,
I
I'm pretty
know.
much locked down. For right now regarding the virus, I want everyone to be safe. I'm not doing any production right now. Wear masks. Seriously.
Please.
Yes. But I am writing right now. I'm trying to, write something original. A lot of the same strings has been pulled in horror, especially judging the Pasadena Horror Film Festival, which is coming up soon, October 3rd. I'm seeing a lot of same structure, in filmmaking. So I'm really like taking my time and make sure I really come up with some unique work, for the horror community and unique stories, you know. I think it needs that right now. And so I'm really just writing and, trying to find, the right story that hits me.
Oh man, I have so much to share with you. So, with all that, where can humans find you? What if you want humans to get in contact you? Let's put up your handles and
Oh yeah.
there we
Okay.
go. There's some.
Yeah, that's on my
And
website right here. And I'm really active on Instagram, also Facebook, LP Green, on Facebook, and also Pasadena Horror. Wait, what is it? The Pasadena Horror Film Festival. Also
I
on
think we
Facebook.
have a picture of it in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might have a picture of it. Let's see.
yeah. We're going to be
Production.
online.
Ah, there it goes.
Yeah, we're going to be online. Because of the, oh, that's the Ice Wolf Queen. Support it. Hopefully, it'll be on Amazon this October. For Halloween, and then the Pasadena October 3rd. So buy tickets, support it. Because I'm really want to keep that going on. I think Pasadena needs some horror in its life, more
It
horror.
does. It needs more, especially from people who actually love the genre that,
Yeah,
aren't just using it as a means to, make an income, which is all great and stuff. But Pasadena does have a rich history and there are horror
more.
film buffs there. You have people flocking to Monster Palooza. You have, which is in Pasadena, which didn't happen this year, but anyways, you have Monster Palooza. You have, there's a bar down there that we've been to on a few occasions that hosts horror film art nights and music, the Pasadena Horror Film Festival. So Pasadena could be the next LA type sort of thing, but it does have the rich history, especially with the filming of Haddonfield. South
Yeah,
Pasadena is Haddonfield. So
Nightmare on
yeah,
Elm
we
Street.
could
You
Nightmare
know.
on Elm Street. You're really onto something here. So, anyways, LP, you and I have a lot more work to do, but more importantly, I just want to make sure that you are part of the whole Michelle Halloween revamped show, whatever the fuck I'm doing, whatever this is, and. I can't thank you enough for reaching out to me, man. Like, I'm honored as fuck. And every time we chat, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I really support what you're doing and keeping it going and keeping it out there.
I
It's
appreciate
fun.
it. I appreciate it. All right, everyone. So you know how to find LP. Keep an eye out. Buy your tickets for the Pasadena Horror Film Fest, and we will see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Shut the fuck up.